Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode. Thanks for tuning in. We are currently in the Northern Territory. So we filmed last week's episode in Cooktown, and we are at where? A Fells
Outback
Hideaway.
It's
about 30k off the road, but that's not what we're here to talk to you about today. We want to show you what's going on inside our caravan. Last week we showed the externals. This week we're going to show you inside of our little 18-foot Brilliant off-road caravan. 2 bunks, ensuite, toilet. Let's get into it, mama. So as we said last week, we showed you the outside of this van. I might link that here on YouTube or here, I don't know which way you'll sort of look at it. Just one thing I didn't cover on that, the cladding on the outside, we chose that. Apparently they estimated it's about 20 kilos lighter than what the full, the new flush walls are, whatever that is, composite, I don't know whether it's composite or not. That just means 20 extra kilos in our payload that we can, that's our barbecue or our fridge slide and barbecue basically in there for the same weight as what it was going to be. I don't know how accurate that is, but we're happy to trust the manufacturer. Anyway, let's get inside. Mum's probably showing you me jocks and everyone else's jocks there. Get them out, mama. Notice actually the big front. I have to get them custom made for the package on the front. Anyway, let's get it in. This is our humble abode. So she's pretty tiny. As I said, 18 foot, single axle, off-road. This is the first model at Brilliant, and they're a manufacturer out of Melbourne. Built in this model. It's the Overlander model. It's got 2 bunks in the back, which we'll get to in a second. But it's the first model that they built of this, basically. They used it as a bit of a showpiece because it was back at the factory a few times at the start, and just to sort of touch on that quickly, that was mainly battery management system. I did go through that last week. It's all been fixed. It's been swapped out for a whole new system, and since then we've been in it for 6 months now. 6 months almost to the day on Sunday, so 2 days away from 6 months on this trip, and we've had it for about a year. So look, we'll just jump straight into it. Don't want to go on any longer than it needs to be. So this is our bed, east to west. As you can see, we're pretty pillow heavy. That's kind of by design. Couple front of our head, but also we wanted to use this as a bit of a lounge as well. So when you sit on it, you can chuck all these behind your back and kind of kick back. We don't probably use it as much as we want, but the kids love sitting on here and that sort of thing. But chuck the pillows in, because it is the front of the caravan is here, and it's got that vertical, the diagonal shape. Chuck a few pillows in there, it just makes it a bit more of a couch, and that's kind of an extension of our couch then. So a couple of things to do here. Trina's going to kill me because she just made the bed. First time I've ever seen the beds made. She's an Eskimo. I'm a fire basically. It is, well, it's about 25, 26 outside at the moment, and I'll probably be wearing no shirt. We've got 2 Dunas is what I'm trying to say. So she's got one, I've got one, and the reason we do that at home. We went to Europe, well, a couple of times now, but most recently about a decade ago, especially the Scandinavian countries. It's quite normal over there. Just means that I can sleep with none of it on, and she can hog mine still. Basically, I take 2 of them at a time when she's freezing. So good little thing, and that way, like, even if she's outside, Trina's outside, I shouldn't keep saying she can take hers out there. We don't have to have a full big doona. So while I'm up here, little drink holder that I've stuck on there. That's so when I'm laying in bed, because this is my side, so I'm the one having to climb over. I chuck me beers up there, sitting in bed watching TV or whatever, just out of the way, and that's stuck on there, hasn't fallen off. We use Velcro for a lot of things in here, so TV remote up there out of the way. We've got some more stuff over here stuck on for the air conditioner remote. Got the old neck gear before we got Starlink as well, which I'll touch on in a second. That just all out of the way over there. TV, it's 12 volt TV. We watch it a little bit, probably not that much. On the swivel arm so I can get all the way around. A couple of little tidy pockets around the corner. Got the keys hanging up the top there as well. But yeah, this is kind of a little area where the random stuff goes. Diesel heater, or the controller for it at least. We've got some 240 volt and some 12 volt USB and micro USB switches in here. Fans, so we paid extra to have Sirocco fans, or an extra couple put around. So we've got one up here and then one in each of the kids' bunks. At the time there was some shortage issues with Sirocco when this was getting built, so we didn't know about it, but we got Fresca, which is a brand which is basically the same. It's an equivalent brand of them. We've had a few issues where Eva's bunk actually cut out, and these other two sort of pulsate on the lower speed. Now we got in contact once Eva's stopped working, because the kids kind of need them, especially when we're off grid, because we don't want to use the aircon all the time. But they've been fantastic with how they've dealt with it. Not the caravan manufacturer, I mean actual Fresca. They've sent out a new one. They've sent out a couple of new motherboards. Is that the electronics term for inside the other two that were not working? One come back and it wasn't working when I tried to fix it. So they're sending a whole new fan out at the moment. So we've got 3 working fans in here. One is still pulsating, but we're getting a whole new fan to pick up as well. So look, this area here is kind of our dump it area. It's like when we're traveling, it'll become, that's where all our chairs go, so that we can just get straight in the door, pick the chairs out, and they're out there in the living space where we like to spend most of our time. Not really a place where you stand anyway. It's more jumping on this part of the bed and jumping over, or Trina just getting into bed from here. But yeah, so it's kind of a dump it all type thing. While we're over here, we do have a hanging space, and we chose to keep it. That's where we keep jackets and stuff. As I said, Trina's a bit of an Eskimo, so she does wear that a lot more than what I do. There's jumpers and that sort of shoved in the bottom as well. That's kind of your rainy day type stuff. Like, it's not something that we wear every day because we are chasing the sun. I've got jocks and socks in there, and beanies and a few other little things. As again, a big package at the front just to custom made for me jocks. And this is where I keep styling, or we keep styling. Now, it's got a couple of cask wines as its padding. I got these given to me as a bit of a funny gift from where I work. Haven't drank them yet, but it's something that I need to get into. But it houses our, let's put that down, our Starlink. So Starlink in there, we run the cord from the bottom through the floor. As I sort of spoke about last week, we've got some irrigation with an irrigation cap on the outside. Cord then runs out the front of the caravan and up the top, and then up the top I'll go through this skylight to put the dish on. We'll just shove the GoPro up there to put the dish on, and we'll move that every time basically when we're packing up or setting up. So then from there, the power cord comes out of Starlink, goes in through this wall, comes under the bed, and then comes back out up here for the 240 volt that it requires. Have thought about doing the 12 volt conversion, but this customer service of Starlink, if I do something wrong, is not really that amazing. So we might be waiting a while, especially in the more remote areas. So look, we don't use it all the time, but we certainly do love Starlink and what it does offer. So alright, so just around the rest of the bed, a couple of hat hooks up there for my big ass head basically. That pocket, that storage pocket while we're there as well, it's just kind of random stuff, electronics, everything like that. I don't know, we're kind of going crazy on the hell hooks, but it just gets things off the ground, off the cupboards, off everything else. Trina's got the drop bear storage, just was added aftermarket, just for her stuff on the side there. We've got these little 12 volt lights all the way around basically, so you've got reading lights. Then from there, this is kind of our only clothing cupboards that we use, as the adults anyway. So I use these two, and we just keep them all in these little mesh pocket bags you can get from Kmart or wherever. Got a hammock up there as well. I've probably got, so that bag's mine, that's mine. So I've got t-shirts, singlets and shorts. I reckon I could probably cut that in half again. I don't wear any t-shirts basically ever. So then Trina's got hers all through there. Jocks. More of these bags.
Oh, that one's blankets.
Extra blanket in there. So just anything we can get off the ground means that we've got more space to live in here. So out here, this is our little L-shaped, what do you call it, lounge. Now this is not big enough. 18-foot van. They've got a capsize somewhere, and this is kind of where it happens. So we can't all sit around this. All four of us can't fit around this. So the kids spend most of the time in here, and I'll eat outside, or Trina will eat outside, or both of us. This is kind of where Eva does a lot of her schoolwork, or we'll sit over here on the bed as well, just to sort of make that extension of the lounge. I would like to do something different with this if I was to do it all over again. I don't know whether that takes away this return, has it going all the way through, so that then the bed becomes the extension. I don't know, but it is. We chase the sun, as I've said a couple of times already, so a lot of time we're sitting outside anyway. It is just nice to have somewhere to sit like you're at a table basically. Up here we've got Eva's schoolwork. So she's basically in grade 1 this year, so travel journals, all the homeschooling that we done, it's housed up there, as well as her iPad, which she uses for reading eggs and things like that. Alright, so we swing around into the kitchen area. Again, it's not big on bench space, it's very small in fact, especially if you're cooking inside. Got the stovetop in here. Now we opted to go for an oven, but then Swift had their gas leak issues, and we still thought we were getting an oven because communications during the build stage wasn't amazing. We kind of also weren't really chasing information from all the time, just assuming what we agreed to in the contract or in the build specs would happen. We got about a week away from picking it up, and that was not there, like the return for the oven to go in. They could have retrofitted something, but we said, hey, we'll buy an air fryer and we'll just go with the grill option. This works well. This is how we cook our toast. It's got a 4-burner barbecue, so not barbecue, 4-burner, 3 gas hobs and 1 electric. Again, use it quite a bit, as well as the barbecue and the induction outside as well. So, but yeah, if we're cooking on that, we've got no bench space, so we have to turn around and use the table, which is not big either. But that's just caravan life in many ways. The sink itself, so a lot of people say, how do you get by with water? And we do pretty well with water. We've got two 90-litre tanks, 180, plus 2 20-litre jerrys, plus the bladder in the car. So we can go, I reckon, if we know we're going off grid for a while, we can probably extend it to what, 6-7 days pretty easily. That's with showers every second day maybe. I'll use the bladder in the car to sort of wash myself off as well, so I'm basically showering every day. But the biggest thing I find when you start talking to people like, well, we run out in 2 days, we run out in 3 days, it's because they're washing dishes after every meal basically, and it's surprising how much water you can use. So we just chuck the dishes in there, and then it's kind of hidden because we have this roll-up Kmart job or something like that, which almost extends our bench space in a lightweight kind of way. And we just chuck the chopping board on top. It's not a pretty little thing, and in talking about that, there's probably nothing in here that's, we don't have the plants, we don't have any nice pictures or anything on the wall, so it doesn't have that real homely feel, but I don't miss it either. Like I don't feel like I need it. It's just added space, added weight and everything like that. So we have got these kind of everywhere. What do we call them?
Fusion locks.
Fusion locks. So we've got baskets, we've got hooks, we've got towel rails, we've got toilet rail. No, we didn't get a toilet rail. No. We've got them everywhere. They work really well. They've never fell off. The road we're coming on today was quite horrendous. Nothing, it just doesn't come unstuck. So everything else, cleaning products, just this little return sits nicely, so it fits everything. That squeezes up nicely. So, because for this to activate, you've got to have this pushed up fully. Otherwise you can't actually turn the gas on. So range hood there. We've got a microwave. We use the microwave a lot more than I thought we would. It's kind of our bread and all those carbs basically live in there. That just helps us with the microwave plate as well, so I'm not having to take the glass plate out. It's kind of its own cushion in there with the bread and everything. But we use that a bit for things like rice or just reheating things for the kids. Everything like that. Got the knife rack up here. I love good knives. There's a global knife that we got as part of our wedding gift. How many years that was? I'll let Mum answer that one.
Oh my god. We got married in 2013.
There you go. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So we've kept them knife and just keep them sharp, and yeah, bought them from the kitchen back home basically. I just want
to cut in. There's one thing I'd do differently, which Ash did in his car. He's got 2 of the magnetic strips. So today on the bumpy road, they actually fell off. So I'd have a double one if I was going to go again. Yeah.
Don't want to have a knife fight. But it is, again, good just to get it off and out of the way. I've got a couple of tea towel racks there as well. Now, this is the other thing. I think I spoke about the speakers last week. This is an AM, FM, radio, CD player. If I'd have known, like, that was what there. I think I've got 2 speakers in the roof somewhere as well. It's, for me, I'm sure people probably still use this sort of stuff, but for me, that's obsolete dinosaur sort of technology and just taking up space there. That could be, I'm sure that's where the range hood goes out, but that, I don't know, it's just a waste of space. The other thing I want to talk about here, I spoke about last week from the outside. 2 windows on this side. I like run a cruise ship, just looking at the porthole basically. One from views, so you're laying in bed through this one over here. And you're probably wondering what this is as well. This little thing here is just a contraption that Trina and I come up with. Trina did the sewing, and we're not very good sewers.
What are you saying?
But this is our curtain.
I'm a great sewer. So
we just cut up a cheap $19 Bunnings curtain that we've hemmed or stitched, hand stitched magnets into the corners. And we've stuck magnets on here onto the outside of our, or inside of our door, and it just sits up there like that. It's easy. The caravan is so dark at night. I think we lost one actually out of the corner there. That's why it's sort of blowing there. But if you close that other door, which we do every night anyway, from a safety point of view, that is dark. The whole caravan's very dark. There's a couple of lights that we've got on the roof as well. We've stuck black tape over them. I think there's a red light on the 12 volt up there that you can't actually see. Any lights you can get rid of, just make it so much better at night, so you don't have this glow, especially when you've got white interior. It lights it up like, what's the night? Bonfire night?
Now this may seem very simple, but this is a game changer for me. I'm a light sleeper, so I think you're crazy with...
And a heavy snorer.
Oh my god, here we go. I think you're crazy if you don't have an eye mask and earplugs if you're a light sleeper when you're caravanning, because you can't always, as I said before, the caravan is really dark and I do love it, but you can't always have all the windows closed because it's super hot some nights. So this is a game changer for me. A $10 eye mask and earplugs, which I think were actually given to us, but well worthwhile. Definitely take some with.
She just lets me deal with all the external noise and all the baddies outside the caravan while she snores away and keeps everyone awake. So one thing I sort of walked past before, and it's probably trash chalk, is a bin. It's one of the things that we ummed and ahed about for so long as to how we do it in a small van. I'll show you inside the cupboards in a second. There's not much real estate in there. And this was actually one of Mum's things that...
Yeah, it seems simple, but that's actually a Kmart collapsible laundry hamper. It's not actually a rubbish bin.
We don't pull it out because it becomes part of our doorway.
It can come all the way out to go much bigger, but we don't tend to do that. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it was about $20 or something from Kmart, and then we've just used a couple of those 3M hooks to stick it on.
Yeah, Mum actually made a half decent decision and did some research for once to get that one. So, alright, fridge, and then we'll get in the cupboards. So fridge, we've got the Thetford 175 litre two-way compressor fridge. Now, I don't think I don't think we made the right choice with this. This was late in the piece. We went from a 3-way to a 2-way. I don't think we've got the battery capacity to do this properly. We've got 240 volts, amp hour lithium in the van, another 200 in the canopy. I just think if we get, we have to have the fridge because we've got freezer and cold stuff in there, obviously. But if we get some cloudy days, or if we get some shady campsites, we are, I don't know, we don't get down to 0 ever, but we're kind of looking at it more than we're comfortable with. Well, me, not Trina. And it's just, yeah, overnight on a 15-degree night, 10-15 degree weather night, temperature during the night, it'll take probably 15% out of our 240 volt capacity. So 240 amp capacity. We'll get it right eventually. But the fridge itself is pretty sound. Maybe once every 6 weeks it'll switch itself off randomly. We've kind of found it, no rhyme or reason, but we've found it pretty quickly, so the food hasn't gone off or been affected. She's pretty chockers at the moment. All my healthy stuff for the salads and that's there. All Trina's junk is here. But yeah, we did a big shop in Mount Isa a couple of days ago. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. But we did a big shop in Mount Isa where Trina basically took shares out in Coles. She was like, what was that old show? Shopping where you got to get as much in your trolley as you possibly could. So.
Supermarket sweep.
Supermarket sweep. They should bring that back. How cool was that show?
God. Please ignore him. The reason I do that is, and one of the biggest tips on this trip, is if you're in a big town with a Coles and a Woolies, you really need to take advantage of it, because when you get into, especially like where we are in the moment in the Outback and the NT, the small supermarkets, yeah, they're great for where they are, but obviously they don't get as much supply as often, and the cost is obviously more expensive because it costs more to get there. So if you see a Coles or a Woolies, which sadly excites me, I do a massive shop, and you talk to a lot of travellers, they all do the same thing. It's just smart, saves you money, and I've literally got food crammed in everywhere at the moment. Don't worry about the Mount Isa locals though, because they've got no food for the next week, because it's all in this caravan. Whatever. No, to be honest, this is probably the heaviest our caravan's ever been, because we were coming through a patch where fuel, water, all that sort of stuff, we didn't really know what we're going to be hitting. We hadn't really researched a lot of Northern Territory, so yeah, we're pretty chockers. So actually, there's one thing I wanted to show you. As well as the bin, ice cubes were the other big thing that we could never really get right. My tip, these are like, I think I got 2 of these off Amazon for like 16 bucks. Get big ones, because big ones then take longer to melt. Little they melt quicker, and you have to obviously refreeze them more often. So we use them all the time. Smoothies, Trina on the grog all the time with gins, whatever, tequilas, or sometimes when it's too hot, just to cool yourself down with the ice. Cupboards. I don't think there's any real rhyme or reason to these. Oh look, it's all fallen down.
As you can see, yeah, a pretty bumpy trip in, but that's not too bad. It's mainly just where things fit in terms of height, size, jigsaw, Tetris type stuff. Yeah, so I don't know. I think there's some rhyme, I should say. That's breakfast. Random meals. So from there, that's kind of we're conscious of the heavy stuff as well up there, which we can't, like, you don't want big, huge stuff up there, because then you got to put it up there and get it down, but also just at a higher level, wonky. This is our other little pantry that we use. This would have been part of the oven if we had an oven. I think we've actually done better without the oven, to be honest, than whatnot. So again, just on the height, whatever fits in here is kind of our go-to type thing. So all Trina's junk again. My bananas must be hiding away in the back somewhere. Then from there, again, look, if you just have a look at the outside of that, there's not much there, so there's not much space. We don't have a cutlery drawer, so our cutlery lives in a little container like that. Utensils or cooking sort of stuff is there. We've got a cleaning tub there. Got some random pears and bananas just floating around in here. That's probably just because we've had such a big shop. But it's kind of like our our bigger, bulkier stuff lives down here for our cooking and everything. Then down the bottom we've got, what's that, a Ninja blender thing, a Ninja, well, not a, what do you call them? Ninja Bullet? No, Bullet Ninja. Bullet Ninja Warrior? I don't know. What's this thing called? NutriBullet. Why am I saying Ninja? NutriBullet. Yeah, with a few blades down there, and then the bottom down here we've got a kettle which Trina uses every morning, and we've got a couple of tiny little fry pans, and there's a saucepan in the back as well. So pretty light on. In terms of cooking utensils, we don't use, or sorry, saucepans and that, we don't use a lot. We've got the Smart Fry Pan, which we use all the time. It's got a removable handle, so it just clips on. You want to spin him around, it goes the other way. Good thing about this is it's square. The other good thing about it's induction. The other good thing about it is that it can fit into our barbecue right on top of the flames. So we can kind of use it for all sorts of things. I love them, to be honest. They're not the cheapest things, they're about 80-90 bucks. We'll fix him up later, hey?
I just want to touch on one thing which Ash would know nothing about. With cleaning products, I literally only have two things in the whole van. One is dishwashing liquid, which I obviously use to clean the dishes, but I also use it to mop the floor, which is awesome. Literally just use a little half brush with a bit of hot soapy water in our collapsible bucket and clean it up. Cleans up really good. I use that to a spray and wipe and everything like that. The only other product I have is Jif, and that's only because I couldn't find anything, I couldn't really get the shower base clean with anything else. I tried sugar soap wipes and I tried the dishwashing liquid and that, and it just really wouldn't, it gets really grotty with the kids just from like the red dirt and stuff like that. So Jif gets it off just with a microfiber cloth really quickly.
But also a shower is a shower, it has water coming out, so it automatically cleans itself. Alrighty, so Trina's giving me all sorts of looks. So our electronics basically, and we're not sponsored by Yeti in any way, shape or form, but Yeti do make some amazing products. I know I sound like an influencer or whatever because everyone has Yeti. There's a good reason for that. They do a bloody good job, whether it's you want to keep things hot or you want to keep things cold. They do it really, really well. So this is kind of our Yeti drawer, but more importantly, it's also our battery management system drawer. So when we picked this up a year ago, this was a BM Pro 35A or something or other. We had all kinds of issues with it, and there was a bit of a blame game between Brilliant and BM Pro. And we had it back at the factory, I think 4 times, which kind of did our head in, to be honest. And it meant before we left on our trip, we were really questioning our purchase of this van, because we were going away with a full off-road van, but without a battery management system that we could rely on. Eventually, Brilliant came to the party and said, hey, we've had enough of it too. Here's a couple of other options to swap it all out. Projector was one of them. And now Projector, I think, is on level with BM Pro, but their customer service, especially like if you put something on Facebook, they've got a guy that sits there and will talk you through it straight away. So I know things go wrong, especially in these, like in this environment. You're going over bumps, everything's moving all the time in a caravan. I know things go wrong, and if they go wrong, I just want to be able to have the peace of mind that the customer service is actually going to be there for us. So touch wood, we haven't had any issues with this at all. We haven't had any issues with the van. Touch every bit of wood because we're in the middle of nowhere at the moment. But yeah, it's been amazing. So we've got an inverter switch over there, which we don't really use. We've got the actual physical switch, which I'll show in a second. We've got some hot water switch for gas, hot water switch for electric. So hot water for gas you turn on when you are off grid, electric when you're on grid. We're currently on grid here at 1000. Then I've got our little information thing. So on there, we are on grid, so it'll say it there. We're using 0.1 of an amp at the moment, 0.2 of an amp. That probably isn't accurate because we are on grid. Solar, we're not bringing any amps, even though it's full sun out there. That's because we're connected to grid. We've got our water pump switch down the bottom here. We can push load I won't do it here, but we can turn everything off. That's kind of our kill switch for everything up there as well. Our water tanks, so tank 1 is 50% and tank 4 on this, but our second tank is 100%. And our grey water is 75%. Now, our grey water gauge, I think, sort of went pretty early on, so it would be empty at the moment, but it's just, for whatever reason, it's out of whack. So yeah, as I said, it's a pretty simple little, like, there's some fancy ones out there, but we're not really needing the fancy stuff. That gives us everything we need to sort of see. So moving on, couple of, well, I think I didn't quite finish the window thing before. There's no reason why that window can't go all the way across there, and it might even on the new models that they've done since there, and there's no reason why that one couldn't go all the way up there. These ones on these side aren't bad. They're big. They let a lot of airflow through, which is good. And we just got the flick up, fly down, fly screen, or the blackout blinds there as well. So just moving down. Actually, Trina's pointing. We've got the Dometic Ibis 4 air conditioner. Works well. We don't use it off grid. We've got by even in some 35-degree days without it, just using the windows, or lack of, but it seems to work. But it cools the place down when we are on grid really quickly, and keeps it cool really good. So moving down, so this is one of my other annoyances, I guess, is our internal storage for big bulky stuff. We've got under the bed storage, which is not full under the bed. It's like a quarter of the bed. So the tunnel boot runs the full length of the bed up the back, so from that to there. Then we've got another tunnel boot externally that runs in this section here, and that leaves this quarter of the bed under here. Now this is a small drawer to start with, which has probably worked out okay because we've got the diesel heater coming out here, which is just one of the cheap little Chinese ones in there as well. But it's hard to get access to probably our biggest storage space on the whole van in here, because you lift up one corner of the bed and it's not on like a gas compression lift thing. So we're lifting it up, trying to balance it on our shoulder. So we use this mainly for shoes, some sporting equipment, and not a lot else. But then, in their wisdom, and I kind of feel like it's lazy, we've learned to live with it, but we've got our inverter under here. So again, it takes up, we don't like to put much on top of that because there is a big sort of venting fan on top of that. But now this is where we turn our inverter on and off. So it just, again, takes up a lot of that internal storage space. And our 240 lithium batteries are at the back there. So again, you can't actually slide big stuff back. So we get this much of a huge cupboard, we get this much space only halfway deep. I feel they could have put that in this one, because you don't really need to access that. Maybe the inverter with the switch, but we could do that elsewhere as well. This is a 2000 watt inverter as well, by the way. We did one of 3000, but again, they couldn't source it at the time. This was when COVID vans were just rolling off the manufacturer's line. Suppliers were struggling to get things. So yeah, this is cupboard one of an annoyance. Under here, there's not actually a cupboard there.
Which is annoying.
But you have to lift the cushions off, which I think is normal, but I would just like, that was actually supposed to be a pull-out drawer, and we paid extra to have that. But then they've put them in there, the inverter and the batteries, so you can't actually have a drawer in there. But there's nothing under there. So we do chuck things like blankets and that sort of stuff under there, because the kids have two types of blankets.
Oh, I know. I love how he calls them two types of blankets. That's because he's got no idea what they have. So the kids have two doonas, a doona each, and they've also got a blanket each, but also when it's hotter, they've just got like a cotton linen blend sleeping bag from Target. So I kind of swap it out a bit, and we have had a lot of different temperatures, so I feel like I'm swapping it a fair bit. But in saying that, I've used it all, so I'm glad I brought it as well.
I just sleep in my jocks every night and put up with it and fine. So yeah, I just feel like that could have been there, and then we've got a full drawer that's easily accessible, but that didn't happen. Next cupboard down, and I think this is okay because it's kind of over the axle and where everything is, because you've got a wheel hub in there as well. This is our hot water. Sorry, not our hot water. This is our water pump. But again, it's just in a space where we can't really use. I think we've got some electrical cords in there. You don't want to be chucking too much around this sort of stuff, because there are little switches and dials that it can be hitting if you're going over corrugations and everything like that. And then finally, while I'm talking about cupboards, the last one, Will's nappies, we've got a hot water in there. So again, there's ample space that way, or there's ample space that way, or there's, I don't know why they've put, again, I can only think it's laziness, or they've just shoved it in where they can access it and not really thought about it. So it's the windows and that heavy storage areas underneath over the axle can't really be used in the van. Externally, we've got tunnel boot, we've got the second tunnel boot, we've got access underneath this bunk as well. That's fine. But it's annoying as well, because you've got to get outside to actually access the big stuff. I know it's first world problems, but yeah, anyway, I think they could probably do that a bit better. So, into the kids' bedroom. So, 2 bunks. That's the Fresca, aka Sirocco fans. Again, these windows are good, they stand on any bunks. They got the storage pockets up the end. They got USB and micro USB charger in both. They got the little reading lights at the end. And then for wheels, because Eva did start sleeping on the top, but Eva's the earliest riser. Sometimes I wonder whether she can go to sleep because she's up that early. So she was getting off here to go to the toilet at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, whatever time she wakes up. And as she's getting down here, she's waking Will up as well at the same time. So we chucked him on top. And because he's only little, like he's 3, our issue is him rolling out. So bunks on caravans are a bit like a coffin. We just got these $5 Kmart, $2, Trina saying, Kmart chopping boards, and you literally shove them in between the bunk, sorry, the mattress and the side of the bunk, and they don't move. You could even do them that way if you want as well. But if you need to access Will, you can easily do that. But it's just an easy removable or movable option without going big with nets or some fancy funky thing that's going to cost us a fortune. So yeah, while we're here as well, we've got a little curtain here that we've installed ourselves. Again, some fancy sewing. This is just a cheap Bunnings curtain. Kind of fitted the grey fit out we're looking for. Bang. Where's Ash gone? Peekaboo! Anyway, it does the job, and we just wrap it up with some of the Velcro that we kind of use this Velcro strip for all sorts of things as well. So, but if Trina comes up this way, or I might just grab it off her, it's just on a curtain rod, so we haven't done any drilling or anything into anything for that. And it just stays there, sits on there, perfect. Bob's your uncle, Robert's your mother's brother. So
nobody says that, by the way.
So Eva's bunk, pretty much the same. The only thing's different, it's got a little storage pocket down the bottom there, just for her iPad and stuff like that. Got her teddies and everything like that. We've chucked a couple little hooks on there for the jumpers, robes, all that sort of thing. Trying to dress them up in robes to get them out of showers and stuff when we're not showering here. Kids' clothing, just all compacted in there basically. And then they've got a little pull-out drawer here for jocks and some socks for them. And then under here, this is like that magical device where you throw dirty clothes in and it just comes out clean.
Yeah. Coming from someone who clearly has never used a washing machine, the one time he did, he broke the washing machine and flooded our laundry at home. So honestly though, I absolutely love having a washing machine on board. With kids, I cannot believe people don't have one. Each to their own, but I have used that hundreds of times. even off-grid, it seems to be fine. It uses about probably 25% of our water and only about, I think, 5% of our battery, because it's got a really quick 14-minute cycle, which obviously I just use that when we're off-grid. And yeah, I think it's been great. Plus it's 4 kilos, which is actually quite big for a van washing machine. I mean, where we're staying at the moment has free washing machines, but that's basically never happened on our trip. And every caravan park is basically $5 or $6 a load. So I don't want to know how much I would have spent on washing machines in 6 months, because I would do, I don't know, probably 4 loads a week.
What brand?
It is a Kamek, which I didn't even know, so there you go.
Kamek RV, and the reason we got a 4 kilo one instead of a 3 kilo one is, again, they had supply issues on the 3 kilo one, so they chucked that in for no extra cost. Moving through to the bathroom. So again, we've got some fusion locks here. I'll just push it to annoy Trina further. Fusion locks holding up our laundry basket. This is like a Shein laundry thing, and this was my genius idea. Shein is in the Chinese company that's sort of like Alibaba, eBay, all that sort of stuff. It costs us $7. We just chuck it in there. There's a zip on the bottom that it can all just fall out. But it's
The other thing I do with dirty washing is fill up the washing machine, which is great because it takes a fair bit. So between that and the washing machine, usually is enough for our dirty clothes.
It's hot in here. We're on the ensuite now. Welcome to our humble ensuite. All right. Hey. I don't know. Trina, do you want to hold this for a sec?
Yeah.
So we might start in the shower. So shower's pretty standard, but I do like that it's separate from our toilet. We have chucked another couple of curtain rods up here, as well as this thing that Trina got from Kmart that was supposed to be for a shelf in the kids' cupboard. It didn't work. So if we're on the road and traveling, we'll hang towels, we'll hang things off, coat hangers off that, so they can dry in the process of us moving. It does get hot in here because it is a small little room, so things dry pretty quickly in here. There's not much else going on. We've got some fusion lock there as well, but it's a pretty standard shower. It's got the fan and everything up above as well, but same with the ensuite. The ensuite is pretty standard. Got some pretty good storage space in here for a small van. So towels and my toiletries up here. Notice that. That's all I need for toiletries. And then if you come down here, you've got a whole bunch of Trina's toiletries in here.
It is not just me. That is all the kids' medicines, our first aid kits, our washing machine stuff, laundry powder, pegs, all the things he doesn't know about.
But this is the best thing that we have done in our caravan, and it's the throne. The throne that I'm sitting on right now. Don't cut too low because they'll sort of see me going down. It is we took the cassette toilet out, the Thetford one that you get, and we have put in the Nature's Head. Nature's Head composting toilet. Now I won't sort of show you smell-o-vision, but it doesn't smell anyway. So what you do, I'm a bit scared to lift the lid because I didn't actually check on this. Your poo goes in the back, don't come too close here, and your wee goes in the front. So if you're a guy, you crouch down, there's no standing up, boys. You crouch down on it, and this bucket at the front collects all the urine, and the bucket at the back collects all your poo-poo. So the great thing is that it's considered compost. So your poo is compost, and you're having to change it every third day like a cassette, which is amazing. We had 3 trips away, 3 weekends away, before we went on our big trip, and just changing the cassette did me head in, and then that wasn't even looking for dump points. So we got this and got it pretty quickly. The whole thing lifts out, so it's basically got two brackets on the bottom that screw in, one on each side, and that connects it to the floor. And to clean it out, you lift the whole thing out. So to clean the poo out, I should say, you lift the whole thing out, tip it into a plastic bag, and because it's considered compost, you can put that into any bin or anything. In Australia, basically, we kind of choose where we put it. We've only done it once so far, and we are 160 days into our trip. It is due for another one, but it's also got 12 volt fan, so it's always connected to 12 volt with that fan, and that takes the air outside. So the air runs in from an outlet on this side, runs over the top of the compost, out there, and out an outlet in the bottom of the caravan. It does an amazing job, and as I said, we've changed it once already, once in 6 months. It is due for another one, so twice in 6 months we'll say. And the wee container at the front, that, because it's just urine, you can put that into your toilet, like a caravan park toilet, tip on a tree, no different from a guy doing a wee on a tree anywhere. So it's been amazing. It is quite pricey at about 1,800 bucks, but it's very easy to install yourself. There's no water needed other than when you put the composting peat, which is a brick about that big, put that in with 3 litres at the start of it, spin this little trundle wheel on the side here, and that mashes it up. So that's your starter basically, to get it all going. So and then with the wee, we just chuck in like a little bit of vinegar at the start once we tip it out and clean it, and that just kind of keeps any urine smell, because the urine or the wee smells more than the actual number 2s. So that about wraps it up. That's kind of our internals from our 18-foot off-road caravan, manufactured out of Melbourne from Brilliant. We have found it, after a few hiccups at the start, to be amazing. Amazing in the quality that it stood up to, but also amazing in the price that we paid as well. So I'm not sort of scared to talk about that sort of stuff. It cost us, I think, $66,000 on the original signing of the contract. I think we might add another $3,000 with some lithium upgrades, and there's a couple other things that we did as well, and probably maybe another with the toilet and the toolbox on the front. I think we probably come in about $75,000 for a full off-road van, independent suspension, everything that I spoke about last week. And you look at some vans that are comparable for size and that's 20 grand cheaper than a lot of other manufacturers and what people are paying. So
and Ash has talked about size and how it doesn't have much bench space and everything, but we've found it to be fine. We just we've got used to it. It's really good for our family, and yeah, we haven't had any issues. We haven't had to contact Brilliant in the whole 6 months we've been here, or been on the road. So
size doesn't matter, it's how you use it, eh?
No, oh my god, please. No, we love it.
Yeah, it's I think I said it last week. It's once you, whatever you got, whether it's a tent, whether it's a motorhome, whether it's a, I don't know,
camper trailer,
yeah, or you stand in motels every night, you get used to whatever you're doing. There's a little adjustment period at the start, but we've got used to this living space. We got used to the 18-foot or the east-west bed, or I don't know, every other thing that people might be sort of looking at thinking, oh, I couldn't do that. You do, you get used to it because you're living in it every day, and that becomes the normal. So yeah, we do love it. Love's a strong word. Sometimes Trina doesn't love me, but it's for bang for your buck. We can't go past it. And
really good quality, I reckon, as well. It is really the only thing that is broken is those fans, and that was nothing to do with Brilliant. So
yeah. So anyway, I hope you liked it. It's probably gone on a little bit long because Trina likes to blab on a bit.
Yeah.
But give us a like, comment on anything you want to know more about in the van, and subscribe if you want to as well. What am I saying?
Oh my
Too many of these. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.
See ya.